So one of the core processes that we work with as leaders, and you do that almost every day of your life, 9 out of 10 times you're not even aware of it. You solve problems for people and for yourself. And sometimes it's easy. It's repetitive conversations or work. It's work that you're very familiar with. It's easy to do. It's like split-second stuff. I understand that. And therefore, 9 out of 10 times, you're not going to follow the process that I'm going to explain now, where you go into a more in-depth analysis of what is it we need to resolve and actually make a good decision about. So it's all about timing again. It's about intuitively knowing when is a good time to call time out and apply the problem-solving process in order to get to a better outcome or decision. It is putting the right team together for that conversation. Try to avoid not having the right people in the conversation where you try to solve a problem. Make sure that whoever represents, part of that problem or an opinion is actually in the room or in the Zoom session, so that you can engage with one another, as one. So these are all very important things. But once you've set yourself up and you know what the issue is at hand that you want to resolve, I'm going to give you a few very basic, simple steps, and you will be able to follow the logic almost in it. And the real point here is, if you follow this logic sequence, you cannot actually make a mistake. You will get to a better decision in the end. So here it is. There's a problem, a concern, it's been flagged or recognized. The first point is to recognize it as a problem or a barrier or something that needs to be resolved. And the easy way to do that or to confirm that is to write down a proper problem statement. In other words, a statement that you can visually see, and it's words that explains what you think is the problem. And then you start doing the following. One, you jointly agree that this is real, this is true. The second thing you do is you take that problem statement and you convert that into what I would now call, a root cause analysis. And what we mean by that is, although on the surface this seemed to be the problem, and therefore the solution might be simple and obvious, when you dwell into the root cause, you might realize that 9 out of 10 times, the root cause and what you thought was the problem is not the same. As a matter of fact, you might discover there's more than one root cause. And then you have to separate them and deal with them separately. And that's why this root cause analysis is so important. This is where you ask the questions: why is it happening? Where is it happening? How is it happening? And you start gathering relevant information on what you think or perceive to be the problem. And if the conversation goes on long enough, you will know that we can actually jointly agree there's a different root cause at the problem. The third thing you do is you explore possible solutions, alternatives. And by the way, this is just a tip. Never judge any ideas coming out or possible solutions. Never shoot it off. Let it hang, wait for it. In the end, you can build ideas on top of ideas. You don't know that yet. So what you want to do now is just open up for as many possible ideas on how to resolve that root cause. It can be outlandish ideas and crazy stuff. Remember what I said, don't shoot it off. Let it come. Allow people not to hold back. People sometimes hold back in a conversation. Why? They feel insecure, they're scared, they don't want to say something that are perceived wrongly. Allow them to share. And then you elaborate those solutions as options and just let them hang in the air. The point is, you want a number of these possible solutions to come out. The fourth thing you do is you start selecting what you think could be a practical solution. And a way of doing this is to just look at a number of factors and analyze it, your idea or your thoughts of how to get out of it according to these factors. In other words, things like what would be your success criteria? What would be the cost implications? What would be effective? What responsibilities will come with this? What's the timelines? Is it realistic? How will this ever get communicated? And by just talking around these subjects or topics, you will start agreeing on what is potentially a practical or a better solution. Number 5, you want to make a decision, and it's based on this decision. Does it fit our vision, our mission, our goals and objectives? Does it fit the culture of the business? Is this in the interest of the business? The second thing you want to do is make sure that you've collected all the relevant information or recent information that you might need to implement. And if you still lack information, then you need to spend time on that and make sure that you get that information. Thirdly, you want to consider all future consequences. In other words, if we make this decision, if this is what we do, what will happen? What could be the consequences? And how will we deal with that? And then, by the way, also number 4, remember in the past you made decisions and then you failed and or you were successful. So what happened there? What did you learn from that? Why would you repeat making the same mistake over and over, or repetitively make a decision on what you think is a possible solution, but then it doesn't work? So just close all the loops and all the gaps for yourself when making a good decision. And then you implement. And you make sure that you've got your action steps in place. Be very sure on the W's. In other words, who is responsible for what? By when will it happen? With what will it happen? How much will it cost us? All those questions need to be clear in order to implement and then make a success. And then very important, lastly, point number 7, is just make sure that you continuously are able to evaluate the progress. For that, you need the team to support. You need to not doubt your success. You need to be able to keep on playing with alternatives, options, if you get stuck still. And but most important is to be able to reflect on your progress going forward. But be careful now. Sometimes I see people that they want to measure, but they overcomplicated it. And the real question is, how many feedback loops do you need to know that you're on track, you're getting the job done, and the business is changing? And my gut feeling on this is only one. You don't need to measure a lot and spend many hours in meetings analyzing, where you are and what happened yesterday and all of that. You will know intuitively almost. We're going forward, we're standing still, or we're going off track. And the moment you're standing still and you're going off track, you have to call time again and figure out what is blocking you. Why is it not working? There's a very nice acronym that you can use, the word proven. P, define the problem up front. Remember, in there is the root cause analysis. The R says refrain from judgment, don't shoot it off. PRO, outlandish ideas, crazy ideas. V, vast majority of ideas. In other words, as many ideas as possible. Remember, again, in your group, you've got movers and opposers, and more quiet people and bystanders. They all have opinions, and you have to facilitate that. Let it come out. V, vast majority of ideas. Then elaborate. This is where you look at your critical success factors, you look at your timelines, you look at safety, you look at quality, and you just evaluate that possible outcome, and take it through a process to ensure that you've actually made a good decision or the better decision. And then the N of proven says, if you follow this kind of process, never doubt success. Let's become good problem solvers. We don't have a choice. We have to do this.